imagine you create this flawless AI-generated audio presentation, right? Like,
Yeah.
you play it for your youngest, most tech-obsessed 20-something colleagues, and you fully expect them to just be blown away by the sheer technological magic of it.
Yeah, you'd think they would absolutely love it.
Exactly. But instead, they look at you with this absolute visceral disgust.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So today, we are looking at why the generation raised on screens is suddenly drawing a hard line in the sand against artificial intelligence. Welcome to today's deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Our mission today is to unpack a truly surprising generational role reversal regarding AI. And this is all drawn from a really fascinating personal essay by an older author named Joe.
It's a great piece. It really forces us to confront this tension we're all feeling right now. Like we're looking at a fundamental question about our tools.
Right.
Is AI just the next, harmless iteration of the ink pen? Or does it fundamentally challenge what it means to be human?
And whether you are using AI every single day to prep for your morning meetings, or maybe you are actively avoiding it entirely, this deep dive is going to give you a massive aha moment about why we actually react to new technology the way we do.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's unpack this. We need to start with the experiment that kicked off this entire generational clash.
Right, the audio experiment.
Exactly. So Joe works at a nonprofit organization. He's an older guy, well-traveled, incredibly curious.
He really is.
And he decides to run an experiment using a sophisticated pro-level AI platform. He basically takes an article he had written himself, feeds it into the AI engine, and prompts the system to turn his text into an audio discussion between two AI voices.
And I mean, he was completely astonished by the output. The voices didn't sound robotic or stiff in the slightest.
Not at all.
They spoke extemporaneously, pausing, reacting to each other. It naturally explored the topic in a way that sounded undeniably human.
Yeah.
But the most crucial detail here isn't just the audio fidelity.
Right. It's what the AI actually did with the information. Because it didn't just summarize his essay, it practically elevated it.
It did.
Joe noted that the AI autonomously brought in all this additional outside information that he had never even referenced in his original text. Like, it folded in new concepts that perfectly align with his core premise.
Which is the defining mechanism of large language models.
Yeah.
Right? It is vital to understand why this feels so different from a traditional computer program.
Because it's not just copy-pasting.
Exactly. An AI like this doesn't just regurgitate text, it synthesizes. When Joe fed his article into the platform, the neural network mapped his core concepts into this vast, high-dimensional space.
Right.
And then it mathematically predicted the most logical connections, bringing in adjacent concepts to enrich the conversation. It was performing complex synthesis, acting as an analytical engine rather than a mere text-to-speech converter.
So Joe is sitting there listening to this highly analytical, perfectly synthesized audio file, and he is just incredibly proud.
Oh, you think it's a masterpiece?
He really does. So naturally, he decides to share this creation with two of his colleagues at the nonprofit, these two young team members in their 20s.
Right.
And Joe assumed these digital natives who grew up deciphering obscure internet protocols by the time they were 10 would absolutely love it.
Well, he completely misread the room.
Yeah, he really did.
Their reaction was the exact opposite of enthusiasm. They vehemently objected to the entire concept.
Viscerally hated it.
Yeah. Furthermore, they instantly recognized it as being AI created, which was a detail Joe had completely missed because he found the audio to be letter perfect.
It's like showing off a brilliant magic trick to kids, only for them to angrily explain why magic is ruining the world,
That's a great way to put it.
Or it's like bringing a perfectly synthesized lab-grown steak to a family farm.
Yeah.
You are standing there marveling at the science. The texture is perfect. The marbling is flawless. But they're rejecting it outright because it completely bypasses the messy, authentic biological process they deeply value. These 20-somethings explicitly stated they did not like the idea of AI creating text, stories, art, or music at all.
Not even a little bit.
So why did Joe misjudge them so badly? I mean, Joe assumed these 20-somethings who literally grew up with iPhones in their cribs would love this. Why is the generation that supposedly embraces every shiny new digital trend suddenly slamming on the brakes?
Well, to understand their absolute rejection of the technology, you really have to look at the psychological reality of their digital environment.
Right.
You have to understand the exhausting, relentless speed at which their world moves. In his essay, Joe introduces a concept he calls the quickening, which perfectly captures the cognitive load these younger generations are carrying.
I love how Joe illustrates this quickening because he takes us on a highly specific technological journey through his own life to show the contrast in how we experience time.
Yeah, he starts way back with the rotary phone.
Right. He talks about his family having a party line where you literally shared a single telephone line with your neighbors. You inherently just had to wait your turn.
And the physical limitations of the technology built a necessary friction into human interaction.
Yeah.
That friction provided natural breaks, moments of disconnection that our brains are actually wired to need.
Absolutely. And then Joe talks about getting a pager in college. He remembers people leaving cryptic numerical codes on the pager, like typing in 07734.
Oh, which spells hello if you flip the screen upside down.
Yes, exactly. And if someone paged you, you had to physically hunt down a payphone, make sure you have the right change, and call them back.
It was a whole ordeal.
It was. And even with his first answering machine, which he describes as being the size of a modern desktop printer with physical reel-to-reel tape, there was a built-in delay. Joe notes that it was perfectly socially acceptable to wait a few days to return a phone call.
Which is wild to think about now. Just compare that baseline reality to the hyper-connected state we exist in today.
Night and day.
Literally. The phone in your pocket or the device you are listening to this deep dive on possesses more raw computing power than the Apollo lunar module.
It's crazy.
But that exponential leap in power has fundamentally altered our expectations of human availability. Today, latency is viewed as a failure. You are expected to respond instantly to a text, an email, a Slack message.
Yeah, the constant pinging.
Exactly. The constant ping of incoming demands creates a perpetually high allostatic load. Essentially, your body and brain are constantly braced for the next input.
Because everyone needs a response right now, Joe points out that modern stress levels are completely through the roof because people are desperately trying to keep up with an unnatural pace.
Right.
To capture this feeling, Joe quotes a brilliant line from Dr. Seuss, actually. He says, "I run as fast as I can to stay where I am and faster than that to get anywhere."
That is digital burnout perfectly summarized.
It really is.
This relentless speed is altering our behavioral patterns, and Joe even speculates it could be altering our evolutionary path and even our DNA without us knowing it. Which brings us directly back to the 20-somethings. They have never known the luxury of waiting 3 days to return a phone call. Their entire lives have been defined by the quickening.
So my question is this tech fatigue exactly why these 20-somethings are drawing a line in the sand with AI?
Oh, for sure.
Like, they are just absolutely exhausted by the relentless optimization of their lives.
Exactly. They are searching desperately for an anchor. When everything around you can be automated, accelerated, and optimized by a machine, you instinctively seek out something authentic that inherently cannot be sped up.
Right.
Which leads us directly into their philosophical battle over the human touch.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is the 20-somethings' main argument. They basically said the arts, writing, storytelling, music, are a sincere, intimate expression that proves our humanity.
And AI directly threatens that intimacy.
Exactly. It makes the world feel even more synthetic. And reading the essay, you see Joe is deeply conflicted by this argument.
He really is, because Joe isn't just some unfeeling technocrat. He is a fierce champion of human creativity.
Oh, absolutely.
He notes in the essay that he insists on perfect acoustics for concert venues, and he prioritizes live music performances. He values the raw, unpolished reality of human interaction.
Right.
Because of those deeply held values, he has this moment of hesitation where he thinks maybe these younger colleagues are entirely right. Like, we should be supporting human interaction and protecting creativity from automation.
It's a very valid emotional boundary they're setting.
It is, but here's where it gets really interesting, though, because I want to push back on the 20-somethings absolutism here and even Joe's guilt.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's look at the actual tangible output of Joe's AI experiment. The AI generated an audio file that provided excellent, accurate analysis. It synthesized complex ideas perfectly.
It did a great job, yeah.
So if the output is highly educational and immediately helpful for you, the listener, does the mere lack of a human touch in its creation instantly invalidate its usefulness?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right. I mean, just because a human didn't sweat over the script, does the knowledge it imparts suddenly lose all of its value?
You are hitting on the classic tension between origin and utility here.
Yeah.
This societal anxiety, the fear of a loss of humanity clashing with the undeniable allure of incredible usefulness, it's a historic pattern.
You've definitely seen this before.
Many times. Whenever a new technology emerges that replaces a human intermediary, the initial reaction is almost always panic. To figure out exactly what kind of tool AI actually is, we have to look back at how we have navigated these technological panics in the past.
And Joe brings up a fantastic historical parallel in his essay. He brings up the introduction of the automated elevator.
Oh, that is such a good example.
When automated elevators first arrived, people genuinely believed it was the end of civilization. They thought that because elevator operators were losing their jobs, society was quite literally headed all downhill from there.
Literally and figuratively downhill.
Exactly.
But it wasn't just about the loss of employment either. The panic was rooted in the sudden absence of the human intermediary. People were terrified to step into a metal box suspended by cables without a human operator to look in the eye.
They felt physically untethered from safety.
Right, they didn't trust the lifeless mechanism. Over time, however, the sheer utility and efficiency of the automated elevator completely overtowered the initial desire for the human touch of an operator. The anxiety just faded into the background of everyday life.
And Joe is remarkably intellectually honest about his own history with technological anxiety.
He really is.
He admits he was late to the game in accepting computers as a necessity. He used to stubbornly argue that pen and paper would ultimately prevail, completely convinced that computers would never amount to much.
Yeah, in the essay, he literally writes, "Wrong again, Joe."
I love that.
His humility allows him to view AI with a much more balanced perspective. He acknowledges the dual nature of technology.
Right? It's not all good or all bad.
Exactly. He has lived long enough to see innovations make undeniable improvements to our lives, but he has also witnessed massive failures. He explicitly points to the continued production of nuclear bombs as an example of technology functioning as a profound human failure.
Technology is not inherently moral. Its value is entirely dependent on its application.
Right.
So, wrestling with all of this, the historical panics, his own past stubbornness, the dramatic successes and existential failures of technology, Joe arrives at a specific framework for understanding the computer. He synthesizes his ultimate conclusion by defining a computer as a useful idiot.
A useful idiot. I like that phrasing.
Yeah. By useful idiot, Joe means that the machine possesses no innate wisdom, no moral compass, and no lived experience. However, if you input intelligent content into it and you use it thoughtfully and intentionally, it works brilliantly.
So it's just a tool.
Exactly. Joe equates a computer, and by extension AI, to being no more and no less of a tool than an ink pen. But I have to challenge Joe's conclusion there. Is AI really just an ink pen, though?
That's a fair pushback.
Right. An ink pen has never spontaneously generated new arguments or autonomously synthesized outside information to perfectly enrich a complex premise, the way Joe's AI experiment did. When you call a large language model a simple tool, aren't we massively underestimating the cognitive leap this technology represents?
We absolutely are, and that is the frontier of this entire debate. An ink pen is a mechanical tool, but an AI is a cognitive collaborator.
Yes, exactly.
It can map patterns, generate novel combinations of ideas, and simulate reasoning. Even Joe admits the jury is still out on the true nature of this technology.
Because nobody really knows yet.
Right. While he currently leans toward viewing it as a sophisticated tool to just, keep his anxiety at bay, he explicitly states that we don't know where this is headed. He acknowledges the massive spectrum of possibilities here.
Right. AI could be disastrous for us humans, or it could usher in a totally new age of enlightenment.
As he simply puts it, who knows?
Who knows? So what does this all mean for us right now, today? Joe reaches a very practical final verdict for his own life. For now, he is choosing to view AI as a tool, but he refuses to be naive about it.
Which is the smartest way to handle it.
Definitely. He states very clearly that he will not blindly accept whatever the AI offers. Instead, his plan is to meticulously fact-check and deeply edit its outputs.
Keeping a heavy human hand on the wheel.
Exactly. He hopes it can serve as a massive boost to his personal productivity without overriding his voice. And he ends his essay with a very simple, relatable plea. He just says, "Wish me luck."
Wish me luck. Yeah, it is a highly grounded, pragmatic approach. And it requires something of you, the listener, as well.
Oh, for sure.
As you navigate this rapidly shifting digital landscape, you have to reflect on your own habits. When you use these AI platforms, are you treating the system as an infallible oracle? It's passively accepting whatever it hands you?
Right.
Or are you acting as the critical editor, insisting on bringing your own rigorous thought process and your own human touch to the final product?
The critical editor. That is the exact mindset we need. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Something to explore on your own that builds directly on Joe's experience with his young colleagues.
Okay, let's hear it.
We talked about the human touch acting as this anchor of sincerity. The 20-somethings rejected the AI audio because they knew a machine made it. But imagine a point in the very near future where AI eventually masters the simulation of that human touch so perfectly that we literally, biologically, cannot distinguish it from human creation.
A flawless simulation of intimacy, complete with emotional nuance, imperfections, and spontaneous warmth.
If we reach that point, does the origin of the work still actually matter? If a piece of music, a written story, or a well-crafted argument moves you to tears or profoundly changes your perspective, does the fact that it originated from a server farm erase the reality of your physiological reaction?
Wow.
Or is our emotional response, the genuine feeling of connection it gives you in that exact moment, what actually makes the experience human? Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and thank you for taking this deep dive with us.